Here again with Take 5 and the Take 5 Challenge. For those of you who have not seen our show yet, I am a recreation park professional who's been in the business for over 30-ish years, as we say, or like 30-something months, summers, since a park and rec kid. I am a recreation arts and community services director for the town of Danville, and really what I'm here to do through this show for you, those that are watching, is to connect with our parks and rec professionals. To me, it's really important for us to be stronger professionals, is to spend some time and be with other folks. The Take 5 Challenge is this. It's something that I started in about 2018 when I was the president of the California Parks and Rec Society. I challenged our profession to take 5 minutes a month to meet with another professional, whether someone that was coming up behind them, someone in the same level, or someone that went before them. Really, again, for us to sharpen each other professionally. And that's what this show is about. It's about sharpening each other professionally and connecting. And today, I'm so excited to have a friend and a guest that will be coming up here shortly to just take 5 with me. What we're going to do is we're going to model what the Take 5 looks like. And then you'll get a chance to meet my friend and colleague, Candace Smith, who's the Recreation and Community Services Manager for the City of Ontario. So when we come back, we will see Candace. But just before I go, just a little reminder of who we are and what we do. The Take 5 Challenge is, as always, powered by our friends at You Make the Difference campaign, and you can find them at youmakethedifference.today. If you're looking for me, you can look for me at Henry at take5challenge.today. That is take the number 5challenge.today, or find us on take5challenge.today, and you can see our other shows. So we'll be right back with Candace.
Attention, gentlemen of distinction. Introducing NGBN.TV, the television network designed exclusively for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Your go-to destination for entertainment that speaks to you, inspires you, and celebrates the incredible journey of manhood. And here's the exciting news. NGBN.TV is coming to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and your favorite mobile devices. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, seeking self-improvement, or just looking for a good laugh, NGBN.TV has got you covered. Entertainment, inspiration, brotherhood. Coming soon to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and mobile devices. NGBN.TV, where men thrive.
All right, and we're back here at the Take 5 Challenge. With me today is my friend Candace Smith, again, the Recreation and Community Services Manager from the City of Ontario. Hi, Candace.
Hi, Henry.
Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me and taking 5. Folks, this is the first time that we've been able to do this in person and live, so which is exciting. And I think the other thing that's cool for us is we happen to be at the National Recreation and Park Association, so NRPA conference this year. So we're hanging out in
Dallas.
Yeah, so howdy, y'all.
Howdy.
So, Candace, honestly, so I know we've had chances to talk and kind of just check in on each other about our careers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But tell me and tell everybody that might be listening to us, like, where are you at? Tell us a little bit about your story.
All right. So, as Henry, as you mentioned, I recently promoted to manager position after being with the same agency for about 20 plus summers, as you say. And I'm new to this role. About 4 months in, post summer, came in and just kind of figuring it all out, and really utilizing the connections I've made through all of my years in CPRS and other organizations to kind of just help me through this transition, right? Like, promotions can be scary, but yeah, I'm at a place where I feel a level of confidence because of things like, NRPA, where I'm at now for the first time, which is great. And then running into friends at conference and just feeling that connectivity and like that reassurance, like it's going to be okay. Like, so yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, just kind of finding myself in a new role.
I like that. So thinking about, and I remember picking up the manager role as well, along the career, it is a little bit of a jump. It's like, I totally believe this, right? That when we're coordinators or supervisors, there's this umbrella over our head, right?
Yeah.
It's a shield of protection that's being done by those folks that are looking at us. But then when you get into a manager director role, that shield and that umbrella is like you got a little hat now going on there.
Oh
Are
yeah.
you feeling that right now?
Totally. Like I love that because I couldn't place where I was feeling like with the transition, just knowing that managing is so entirely different than supervising. You go from like you're supervising a team to now managing and trying to supervise and lead 3 teams because the umbrella of my agency and the way our org chart fell. So now like my former protection is now my colleague as a fellow manager, like that shield that I had, now she's next door versus like, I can't like, oh, where are you at? Like I'm that person now. And it's big shoes to fill, but it's also so rewarding just to know that I've been entrusted with that responsibility for the department.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
One of the things that I was hearing you talk about that and reminding me of something. So you are now colleagues with someone who may have supervised you before, right?
Yeah.
And would that also be the case? You're now supervising your former colleagues, right?
100%.
So
Yeah.
how's that transition been for you? Like, have you felt that it's been a little odd, weird, or like, are you finding your manager, shoes, I guess?
It is so fresh. So, I mean, I'm 4 or 5 months into the position. So I feel like it's very transitional. And I feel like I'm trying to find my footing and find those shoes. The relationships are great. Obviously, I've been at the same agency, like I said, for 20 plus summers. So I've built like connections, friendships, respectable relationships with these people. So, supervising them or managing them, as I say, it hasn't been extremely difficult. I feel like it's actually it is a challenge because you're in a different role and now you're trying to just find how that communication and how that relationship has changed a little bit, and now going to that umbrella and saying, oh hey, I'm at the seat at the table with you making these decisions versus like, hey, can I do this? Or do I have your approval to do this? Now it's like, you trust me, let's do this together kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Did you sit there and also question your questions? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's instead of going now, because you just said it, right? Now you're giving the solutions or sitting at the table where they're asking the questions. But one thing I do for my staff, or I would like them to do, is I want them to be a staff and a leader of with solutions, not questions. It doesn't mean that there's a lack of question, but that you ask the question, you have your own answer before you come to me with it. So are you finding yourself kind of having to navigate even that a little bit in your new role? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. But yeah, I do like, I have those moments where, okay, can I sign this off and approve on whatever this case may be, right? A big scale thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, they put me here for a reason. So I'm sitting at this desk for a reason. So I have to like trust myself, have confidence in myself they want me to make these decisions, and now it's a matter of like reinforcing to those former supervisors that I was once a colleague with and now that I manage, like those are the things you need to start thinking about. Like if you want to, progress into this position at one point, like you need to think those big picture things like, can I make this decision on my own? And if I can't, what are my alternatives that I'm bringing to the table so that I show that I'm thinking forward, right? Yeah. Instead of just kind of relying on that umbrella. I don't want to rely on the umbrella. Like, I don't want them to either.
Which is true. And then, you also are trying to make your way as that new manager, right? So you're trying to say, okay, I want to show you that the trust and confidence that you put in me, that I'm going to give it back in with doing these kind of things, which I think is really cool too. Another thing that kind of pops up when I think about, especially kind of taking on a new manager role, and I remember kind of going through this because when I got my position, my current position, there was others that didn't get the position, and there's others that still had to they had to work through that process for themselves. But there's a level of, I guess, sort of responsibility as the manager director that you're like, oh man, I want to make sure you're okay. Do you find yourself struggling through that, or has it been okay? Your former colleague is now who you supervise, and how have you managed through that?
I am very fortunate in my agency that we do a lot of consulting work. Mm-hmm. So I have I've been having weekly hour-and-a-half sessions with one of our consultants that's kind of third party. So she's been helping me navigate like, okay, these are the things that will help you. She's been
Right.
giving me tools
Yeah.
like to even have those critical conversations, right? Or what have you, just to be like, I am a person who feels like empowering your staff should be one of your
Yeah.
priorities.
100%.
And even as a manager, I need to do that with my supervisors, right? So if these supervisors eventually would like to see themselves in a manager position, I'd be doing them a disservice by not having those conversations and not empowering them in a way like teaching them or showing them how what next steps look
Yeah.
like, right? So did that answer your question?
No, yeah, totally. But I mean, I was just trying to think of that because I think that that's a struggle that a lot of people have when you take on a new role. And I remember it specifically in the Marine Corps. What I remember doing when we would get promoted or someone got promoted, you always wanted it to be where it just made sense for everybody, right? So everybody's like, well, yeah, okay, of course. Of course you're at that next rank. But then it is, you have to act that next rank. You have to be,
Right.
be responsible. And when I talked about putting your manager shoes on, I had one of my supervisors once who had just gotten promoted to supervisor was talking about how they were still felt like their shoes were too big, and they had to fit in them. And it really wasn't that the shoes were too big. It really was that you just got to put them on right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's true. Yeah.
So you think like put it on
Put
right.
it on
It's like,
right.
Put it on right. And it's like you already have that. And I think that that's so cool that they actually gave you kind of a coach to help you through that process.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would benefit from something like that, especially in an organization, that you're getting a lot of people promoting within, right?
Right.
You've got those issues that linger, and that could be a potential cancer. And those are things you got to watch out for now, right? As the manager, it's no longer kind of hearing the chirping here now. It's like, well, we got to stop that, or we got to lead that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's been pretty cool. What's been first the most exciting thing about your new role for you?
The most exciting thing, well, there's a lot. Like, it's every day is like so different, in a lot of ways. I guess where we're at with the city and just all the upcoming projects, like we're building a sports complex, 210 acres that we just acquired. We're in the midst of leveling out 110 acres for phase 1 of our Grand Park, and just all these park improvements. And to have a seat at that table and like get to make decisions. And I feel like as the part of my career that I'm at, it's like the most exciting because of all the things that are happening in Ontario that I get to be a part of at a different level. And just like forecasting the next 5 years to me excites me, and it like reinvigorates me. As much as I love being like in a community center and getting that face to face with the community, knowing that I'm doing something bigger and better behind the scenes, and that in the next 5 years things are just going to look so different in the city for our community, is like it reignites me, because I've been in the community center for 7 years, and it's like, okay, I think I outgrew this. I'm ready for something more, and that's very exciting to me.
That is exciting. So on the flip side, I'll just ask it more. Maybe let's see how I can ask it the best way. So, okay, so what's been the biggest learning curve you've had to go through, or issue, or I wouldn't say complaint, but just like, hey, everything's not roses.
Yeah. So I guess having to like the time management and overseeing 3 large scale program areas and community centers, and staying focused and knowing that I have to like give each of them my attention versus, you're in a community center, you're supervising one team, like I said earlier, and now it's okay, there's 3 teams with X amount of programs underneath each of them, and my reach is bigger, and I have to remember like, okay, you're not here, you need to like, and I think that's where I'm at right now as far as like trying to balance everything and get a hold on my style as a manager. So yeah, I wouldn't say like complaint per se, but personal struggle, if you will, with trying to identify like my new role and how I can give attention to each of 3 of my teams and the whole department, right? So I think that's it.
And one of the things that I know that I've done in that past, like, yes, it's 3 teams, but aren't there a leader of each one of those teams?
Yes.
Right. So I've always liked the idea, and it's something that I got through the Marine Corps, which is small unit leadership. Right. You do it at the lowest level of small groups. We used to have groups of 4 that was part of groups of that were 3 groups of 4 part of 3 groups of 3.
Right.
So it was like, So it's the same kind of thing, and I think I still do that now. Even in my role, I've got supervisors and superintendent, but I got the leadership team, and really, I feel like I need to focus on them, and then ask of them to focus on the others. So
Yeah.
it kind of like chops it up for you, right? So now it's not as big. So
Right.
now it is you're doing what you were always doing. You just have bigger things to talk about, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's-
so it's kind of like you think about it that way. It's like, yeah, you already did it.
Yeah.
You're just doing it
A
different.
couple,
Yeah.
in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which I like.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need help with, or that you're asking about, that you wonder about? Like, who do you making phone calls to, or not even who, but are you making phone calls to your colleagues right now asking about certain topic areas right now?
Oh, hot topics. I guess I'm gonna say field allocations because that I formally oversaw that, but like a decade ago on a lower level, smaller scale, and now overseeing the supervisor who does that program. I'm noticing there's so many issues on the daily with like, are people following the rules?
Yeah.
And if they're not, how are we holding them accountable? And and then if one user group's not following the rules, that impacts another user group, and now they can't get their field space, and it's just like a complete trickle effect,
Okay.
right? So I think that's my biggest thing, is just trying to get a hold of that and how other cities are, handling their user groups and their field allocations. And like I said, we're going to be opening a sports complex with potentially 13 extra soccer fields and a baseball complex. So that's just going to snowball, So I think that's my and that's a conversation that, I have with my team, but then also, okay, who do they connect with their, surrounding cities that they can talk to, and who do they rely on, and make sure they're making connections and making sure that they're going to conferences and different, things that CPRS puts on, so that they can have a phone line, like, okay, who can I call? Phone a friend,
So for me, like, it's a new manager. If I had a new manager, new supervisor, which I do. Right
Okay.
now, so I have a new what can I do to help them through this process? And I think, like, my new supervisor is, a couple months in.
Okay.
So is there something that me as a director that would have been helpful for you, or can be helpful for someone else?
Is this person outside person
Inside
or
candidate.
inside candidate promotional?
Yeah.
Don't assume that because they've been there that they know the things that you're entrusting them with.
Okay.
So, although things are new, and we're just like automatically thinking, oh, cool, they've been with us for X amount of years, like they know the process. There are times when I'm like, I don't know the process. Like, please pump the brakes and let's go back. So just don't assume that they know what it is you're already.
And it's funny. Yeah. You're right. I totally get that, because I feel like that there are times when I might just do that.
Yeah.
So, but there are also times I tell like new staff, and I have not only this supervisor but other new staff. I'm like, hey, there's gonna be times when I'm gonna feel like you've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna have to say, hold on, I've never done that before. And then the other thing, I guess, what you brought up to me that made me think about too is, don't assume they know it, but then also remember they're coming at it from a different seat now.
Right.
So it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not just doing scheduling, you're doing whatever it is for everybody. So that totally makes sense. I like that. I'm like just marinating in that much.
And then just be like, be open for them to ask questions and like give them grace. But I'm very blessed that that's a position that I come from, that I'm not afraid to ask questions, and it's okay, and I'm learning, and that's okay.
And that's a big thing. I do hope that a lot of people do remember that, right? It's like, I think when you take on a new role, you also are like, well, I have to know it all because they just hired me to know it all, right? It's like, well, no, they hired you to play the role, but you will begin to know it, and stuff like that. So which I think is really cool. How do you recreate and re-energize yourself? I know this new job is re-energize you at work, but how do you re-energize and recreate?
I am very committed to a routine. Like, I make sure that I work out a couple times a week. And if I don't have the time, or by the time I get home, I'm a little, under energized, even just a walk, 30-minute walk with my partner, which just go have conversation, unwind, Travel is important. Just getting out and doing little things, spending time with family is important. When opportunities arise to go to learning up like conferences or whatever it may be, taking advantage of those and just talk like having friendships and connecting with people, whether it be just on social media or just a quick text, like checking in with your friends and just, hey, are you good? Yeah, I'm good. And just, but my routine, my workout routine is critical. Time with my family, my partner, and then church is something that my Sundays are my Sundays, and I feel like that kind of just reboots me. And if I can't go, I got to find a way to do something that spiritually fills me up. So just all aspects.
I love that. You got it dialed. You got a good little space right now
Yeah.
in life. I totally did that.
I'm very lucky. I'm very
Yeah.
blessed. I just gotta count your blessings and don't take things for granted.
And I appreciate you taking the time with me and just kind of hanging out and chatting. This was fun. And then I have an ask. So it's the Take 5 challenge.
Uh-oh.
No, this one. But so the Take 5 challenge. I'm trying to get people connected. So hopefully I can connect people throughout the nation. That's kind of one of my goals,
goal.
right? But I would love to know if I could count you in on someone on the Take 5 challenge, whether it be connecting with somebody else. If I were to connect you somewhere else besides just you and I, are you in?
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
That's-
Empowerment, right?
I like
And
it.
that's
I
how we
like
do it.
I like it.
I would
So,
love to.
I love it. Sweet, another one bites the dust.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
Another one's connected. So, where can people get a hold of you, or if they wanted to get a hold of you?
If you would like to reach me, you can reach me via my email, csmith, CSMITH, at ontarioca.gov. So again, csmith@ontarioca.gov. That's my main
I like it.
my main go-to.
Candace, thank you so much for
course.
kind of hanging out and taking time with us. When I come back, I'll give you some final thoughts on this little exciting chat. So, thank you.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires?
Educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports.
Men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives.
There is an epidemic in our community.
And it's taking men from us.
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
In a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at ngbn.tv, coming January 2024.
you.